Hello YouTube, this is your girl Karma Kaboom, broadcasting live from my bathroom. I want to talk about a bunch of shit. I want to get a bunch of shit off of my chest. I have had a very interesting morning. And first of all, let me say this. I want to acknowledge Prodigy of Mobb Deep passing at 42. A lot of you have already seen that across your screens earlier today. I don't know when, I don't know where, but there is news that Prodigy of Mobb Deep has passed. You know, the group Mobb Deep from the 90s. And, yeah, he was part of hip-hop. So, I've had an interesting day. I'm very sleepy. My neighbor, that motherfucker down there, I can't stand his ass. They kept me up most of all morning. They started around 1 o'clock. The motherfuckers do not sleep. They probably sleep right now because I don't hear them moving around down there right now. During the day, they ass is sleep. And I wish I knew which area of the apartment that they was sleeping in, because I'd stomp all over that part right there. I can't stand their asses. And I think they had a fight this morning because they were slamming doors more than usual. And just leaving and coming back, leaving and coming back. I don't know what hood rats could be fighting about other than motherfucking cheese. And maybe they don't have enough cheese. Maybe somebody ate too much of the motherfucking cheese. I don't know what the fuck was going on with the cheese. But the motherfuckers had a problem this morning. And it just seems like to me, let me put on some lip gloss and shine my lips. Because I got a whole lot I want to address. And I want to be having my lips greased up when I talk about it. But it seems like when two nothing motherfuckers would get together, they would sit the fuck down. What the fuck do you have to argue about if you nothing and the one that you in love with is nothing? The one that you're living with is nothing. Two nothings together is nothing. So sit the fuck down. I don't understand it. You don't have no goals. You don't have no ambition. You just get you some motherfucking dope and sit the fuck down and make some nasty ass love. Make some nasty ass love and some stupid ass kids that's just like you. That's life for you. I don't understand what the conflict is. Maybe they couldn't get no dope and somebody was mad about it. Maybe somebody smoked too much dope and didn't have enough dope for the other dope head and they wanted some more or more than they usually get. You know, I can't understand the mind and the mentality of a nothing motherfucker because I'm not no nothing motherfucker. But anyway, it is what it is. The motherfuckers, nothing motherfuckers kept me up all morning long and I'm sleepy as fuck. I've been struggling all day to do what I gotta do out here in these streets. And I didn't do all I set out to do, but I did all that I could do, and the rest will fall by the wayside, right? Right. So anyway, moving right along. Hold on, I gotta put this on. I think it's time for me to buy some more. And I can't remember where I got it from. You know, I don't like to use just any kind of lip gloss. Just like I don't like any kind of this and any kind of that. I like a particular type of thing. And, you know. So anyway, let's talk about what I really came to talk about. I wasn't going to talk about this, but it's been on my mind. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. A lot of you may or may not know about this young lady. She was 32 years old and she was recently killed in Memphis. Her name is Tasha Taylor. I wasn't going to do the video about it, but it has really been bothering me. The circumstances that led up to her dying and the situation that transpired after she was in the accident, and how a lot of the people reacted after she was in the vehicle dying or dead or whatever, and a lot of the comments that were made online after the fact. So we'll start with the situation. And this morning, after I had a meeting, I went in that area. I wasn't very far away. So I went to that area to see where the car crash had transpired to get a better look, because I had an idea of the vicinity in my head, but I wasn't really sure. And I was thinking in my head, how could they have gone off the road? According to the news reports, her boyfriend was driving the car. Coincidentally, it was one of her most favorite cars. I think she was said to have several cars, and she had a candy paint pink Infinity. It was very pretty with the nice tires and everything, the custom rims on it and everything. It was very nice. And I saw on her Facebook page, she was saying that she hadn't driven the car in a while and it was time to bring it out. And coincidentally, just when she brought the car back out, she gets killed in it. Wow. And I was like, wow. Now, what I'm about to say is not meaning to be mean and offensive, but it may sound that way. And I don't know how to say it any other way than to say it the way that I'm about to say it. Now, initially, I was thinking that the casket that she was buried in was kind of ghetto. But in hindsight, looking at it, I'm kind of digging the casket. And I'm like, who else has ever been buried or funeralized in a candy paint casket? I'm like, wow, Tasha Taylor, she went out in style. She went out just like she lived. She had on a real pretty dress. It was customized. Now, I have previously criticized the person who made the dress, and I want to stand by those comments that I previously made. I do feel like she makes whole clothes, but I want to kind of clean it up a little bit by giving her due props. And I don't mind giving people their props when it's due. I'm not that type of person that, just hate on people. And a lot of people think I be hating on these people. I'm not hating on anybody. If you're doing good, you're doing good. And if I think you're raggedy, I'm going to say that you're doing raggedy. So I really feel like the person that made the dress, I'm not going to call her name. Everybody know who made the dress. But I think the person that made the dress has developed her craft. She has grown in a lot of ways, and I commend her for that. Everybody haven't been raised the same, and everybody got a different state of mind, and everybody grows at a different rate of speed, and I'll leave it at that. So, I want to applaud her for being business-minded, the girl that made the dress, and she is growing, and she's growing for the better. And I do appreciate that. So I'm going to applaud her in that aspect and say that I like the dress that she made for Tasha Taylor, her funeral dress. And I thought that was really cute. She had the candy painted casket. I've never in my life seen a candy paint casket. It was pink. It was very pretty. And at first I was kind of taken back. I was kind of taken aback by the candy paint casket, and then it had the Gucci on it and all this and all that. I was kind of taken aback, but I'm gonna go ahead and let that ride, because everything isn't for everybody. And I'm thinking, who could paint the casket candy paint in that short amount of time? They did a whole lot of things in a short amount of time, but it all came together, and I think she would have been very proud of it, how everybody represented and showed her love. And they had several candlelight vigils, and everybody had on the pink, and they had pink balloons, and they just did it up with the pink. And okay, I started seeing some of the reports on Facebook about this Tasha Taylor. I had no idea who Tasha Taylor was, but since the 10th, when she died, reportedly, that was the day that she died, I have learned a little bit more about Tasha Taylor from her Facebook posts and from of her friends and family members' Facebook posts and some of the news reports. And I've been very intrigued by this to a certain degree. And, you know, I'm going to say this and I'm going to leave it at that. You know, I want to commend her for being an aspiring businesswoman. I commend her for that. And, you know, her life got cut very short. And what I'm about to say is not to be offensive. Please don't take it as an offense. But I want to say this because God loves a truthful heart. And it may help someone in what I'm about to say. Because I did see that one of her friends said that this has been a wake-up call for her with Tasha Taylor dying, her friend dying. This has been a wake-up call for her, and she wants to try to live her life better. You know, a lot of times, and even people that live their life in what we consider a righteous kind of way, and in the church, they can die at an early age too. A lot of us can die at an early age. It doesn't matter, you know, if the circumstances are there and if it's God's will, it's going to happen. That's my opinion of it. But a lot of times we can speed it up by living a certain kind of way out of the will of God. And when you live fast, a lot of time that progresses the circumstances. And I'm not saying it's what happened, but we have to consider that. And from looking at her pictures and her posts, you know, she was living out there in the world. And, you know, the world will applaud you, but we still have to face the judgment of God. When all of this lights and cameras and pomp and circumstances over, or however it's pronounced, you know, we have to face the judgment of God. And, you know, a lot of people were saying that, you know, she would bring out the city, and you have to just say her name, and she'd bring out the city. She'd bring out the city. That may be true to a certain degree, but look at the crowd of people that was brought out. Look at the crowd. And I'm not judging the crowd, but I'm just saying. And coincidentally, that same crowd of people was some of the people that was around her when she was burning up in that car. And I am so disheartened to see. I saw the video this morning. Someone had posted the video when the car was burning and she was in there, but you couldn't see her face or her body. That was blurred out, or maybe the person that was filming was too far away. A lot of those people were standing around just talking and screaming and recording. And some people would say, well, they shouldn't have put that on YouTube. I disagree. You know, a lot of those same people that say they shouldn't put that on YouTube, a lot of those same people don't say anything at all when the white media records someone like Michael Brown, Philando Castile, and so on and so forth, Alton Sterling, and so on and so forth, and put them on the national news or international news for the whole world to see, and we see them bleeding out over and over and over again. You don't protest though, so why do you come to these black YouTubers and try to protest? I don't understand it. This fake outrage, but I digress. And let me back up before I get into that. I really have a problem with that right there. The scene of the car burning and the people standing around. I got a big problem with that right there. But let's back up. Okay, I went this morning and I drove that area at least 3 or 4 times, because in my mind, I'm trying to put it together and figure out how did this happen. And a lot of her friends and family members on social media are trying to shut it down. They don't want a lot of people talking about this. And I have my suspicions why they are trying to shut it down. I think something was going on in that vehicle. Something was going on between them. And it may or may not be a lot of legal stuff. And I'll leave it at that. And a lot of her friends and family members know. They know. And that's why a lot of them don't want us talking about that boyfriend. He's still alive. He's in the hospital. And they don't want us to know his name. They don't want us to know anything about him. They just want it to go away. And everybody stop talking about it. And that's kind of odd. If anything, that kind of draws attention to the matter. When I see that kind of thing, it kind of draws attention to the situation more. And I drove in that area this morning, and I could see the impact, the point of impact from the interstate. And I was trying to figure it out when I kept reading about it online and reading and seeing and hearing about it on the news. I'm like, I know that the general concept of that area, the general layout, I should say. And I just could not figure it out how someone could leave the interstate and go down into that area and crash into the tree and break the fence. Because there is a little ditch, a little concrete ditch before you get to the fence and the tree. And it seems like the ditch would have stopped the car, especially if you're applying brakes. Did the brakes fail? Was it a malfunction with the brakes? I don't know. But it seems like if you're going down that little embankment, it's not very, very steep, but it's a slight embankment. And it seems like if you're going down an embankment and you apply pressure to the brake, that little ditch is going to stop you. How can you keep going through the ditch and full speed and have enough speed to go into the tree and the fence and have such an impact where it creates such damage to the vehicle and causes the vehicle to catch on fire like it did? You know, something was going on in that vehicle. And I suspect, I can't prove it. Now, this is just my thought. You don't have to agree with me. This is not proof, what I'm fixing to say. But I kind of think it may have been a fight in that car. I think it was a fight in that car. And you know how a lot of these females and the males, they might get a text or a phone call from a certain person, and that woman or that man that you're with, they may have a problem with it, and one thing leads to another, and some questions get asked, and then the fighting and the arguing ensues. And a lot of times these fights like that start in that car. And when I drove that area and I got off at Getwell, a few feet away from the point of impact, I kept having this feeling in my spirit. And I really think that's where the fight started. That place right when you get off of Getwell onto the interstate, headed towards Lamar. I really think that's where that fight started. I might be wrong, but I think I'm right. And I said to myself today, if I'm thinking this, I am almost sure one of these police investigators probably thinking the same thing. And they probably have already interviewed that child, the 2-year-old child that was in the car. I think they said the 2-year-old child was the boyfriend's child. They probably already done interviewed that child. And the guy, he's probably going to, even if he don't have a big heart, a big soul, you know, some of these people don't have a big soul. I'm not saying that he doesn't, but some of these people don't have, you know, a whole lot of conscience of, you know, after something happens like that. But even if you don't, even if you're the most coldest, the most hardest person, whatever, that's gonna mess with you. A situation like that for a long time. And a lot of times when situations like this happen, the person could end up being on drugs real bad to try to cope, or on alcohol real tough to try to cope. And I can imagine this is gonna really rock his world for years to come. And some people, it can be so bad they might even try to commit suicide. I'm hoping that's not the case for him. But, you know, if you with someone and you in love with them, even if you have a fight and a situation like that happens that you don't see coming and it causes the other person to lose their life, you know, that's something to deal with, I can imagine. And you can't take it back. It's done. And I would really not want to be in a situation like that if I had a fight with my boyfriend or husband, and that's the last thing that I had to remember them by, and that was the last type of situation we was in. We had a fight and we never resolved it, and it cost that person their life. Man, I would be devastated. But I'm not saying that happened. You know, he could have had a seizure, or the brakes could have malfunctioned, or a dog could have ran out in front of the car. Anything could have happened. I don't know what happened, but I do know, according to the news reports, that car left the road on the interstate and went down that little embankment and hit that tree. And they said the front of the car got stuck between the fence and the tree. And part of that fence was torn down and burned up, and some of that tree where the car hit was burned up. And on the video that I saw this morning, man, that car was burning in the front. And someone, I guess some of the people at that apartment complex seen it, and they came out to try to help. And I see that they went to the driver's side for whatever reason. To my understanding, from what I could see, excuse me, seemed like the fire started in the front. I don't know. Maybe the fire was on the side where she was. I don't know. But I didn't see any fire over there. Seemed like all the fire was contained in the front, and it was, you know, spreading rapidly. But someone busted out the driver's side window with something and opened the door. It seemed like that door was kind of jammed a little bit. Maybe her door was jammed a little bit. Maybe when the car with such force hit that tree with such an impact, maybe that caused the doors to jam. You know, maybe a lot of that force caused those joints to jam up, you know. And man, oh man, oh man. According to someone in the comment section under one of those videos I was looking at, they said that the dashboard had came into her chest and crushed her chest, and she was probably dead on impact. And man, what a way to go. What a way to go. My God, my God. And I would just hope that she did not burn in that car. I don't know if she did burn. I don't know if they had an open casket or if it was a closed casket. But that is a really tragic way to go, either way it goes. And I saw when they got the boyfriend out and they got the child out, it looked like the child was unconscious a little bit. I don't know what happened. Maybe they weren't in their seatbelt. Maybe they got bumbled around like that some kind of way and hit their head or something. But I think the boyfriend, from the looks of it, he was kind of dazed a little bit, but he was able to shake it off. And maybe it sounded like it was a lot of chaos going on, but it sounded like he may have been able to tell the crowd that somebody else was in the vehicle. And that's when they went around to the side. And it seemed like when they went over there, they kind of jumped back for whatever reason. Maybe they thought the car was going to explode or something. I don't know. But I could hear, it sounded like I was trying to figure out if that was the boyfriend, but I could hear somebody saying something like, "May, no, May, no, oh, hell no." And I think that was the boyfriend. I think that was the boyfriend. And I know when things like this happen, you go into shock a lot of times. But in my mind, it seems like for me, if that was my boyfriend, and I know everybody reacts differently, and I'm not blaming the boyfriend, but I'm just saying if it was me, under those same circumstances, it seems like I would have just had to just brave the fire and get to my significant other some kind of way. Whether they were dead or alive, I could not let them sit in that vehicle. Now, I don't know how severe the vehicle was crushed into her. I don't know if she was completely caved in. I don't know. But it seems like I would have had to find a way to break that window and break that car all the way down to the common denominator and try to get her out of there. Even if she was dead, I would have had to try to find a way to get her out of there rather than just let her burn. You know what I mean? I know if she's dead, the damage is done, but I just could not see letting her sit there. I mean, that's adding on to the more, it's being more gruesome. And it's more traumatic. And that's just an awful way to go as it is. And to have her burn on top of that, it's just awful. And man. But to see all of those men out there standing around looking, I just could not believe it. Even if she was dead, why would you just stand there? Okay, all of those apartments, you can try to see if you can grab some buckets. Critical thinking skills. Where are your critical thinking skills, guys? I mean, my God. And see, this generation, this is just a fine example of how fucked up this generation is. You don't have critical thinking skills. Most of them don't have critical thinking skills. You don't know what to do when your life or somebody else's life is on the line. Because you're so used to getting turned up and partying. These people that can get turned up and party with you, they can't do shit for you when your life is on the fucking line and you're at a critical moment and you know, getting together and turning up really matters. And they showed that. They showed that it was nothing that they were willing to do. And they stood there recording it, talking and crying. What the fuck? And I'm like, wow, really? And, you know, I don't know the severity of it, but it seems like, you know, even if she was unconscious, even if the thing was crushed on top of her, whatever, she may have been able to be saved. Maybe she was unconscious. Maybe she could have gone to the hospital and they could have revived her. Maybe somebody who would have known CPR could have did something to bring her back. I don't know the severity of her injuries. So I'm just thinking outside of, you know, the car. I don't know what was going on inside of the car. But I think it's real cowardly for them to get the man out and for the man to get out first and leave his woman inside that car. That's what I'm saying. And I cannot see a real quality man being okay with leaving his woman inside that vehicle and getting out first. Wow. And you know, it made me think about something real important. And that is, you got to be very careful who you call your bae, your boyfriend, your man, your husband, your woman, your wife. You got to be very careful about that, who you rocking and rolling with in the bed and in these streets. Because, you know, when your life is on the line, they may or may not be able to come through for you. You know, and what good is busting a nut with you if they cannot bust them windows out and help save your life or get you out to a safer place when a critical moment transpires. Man. And this is who she was hugged up with all on Facebook. And man, this is who was driving the car. And I'm not saying that he's at fault, but I'm just saying he was the one driving the car. Her beloved car, what she loved so much. And I'm understanding that she was doing car shows and all these different things. And, you know, I don't know what was going on. I don't know what type of job she had, but it looked like she was just selling hair. And maybe she was in the clubs doing whatever, you know. I don't know. But it seems like some things was going on. And you just have to do the math. You know what I mean? And draw your own conclusions from what was what. But I was really bothered by a certain YouTuber, a black guy who loves to talk shit about black women. And he has developed a pattern of talking shit about a lot of black women who are dead. And I think that is so disgusting. I think that is so disrespectful. But he pretends like he don't know what's going on when people call him out on his shit. Some things you just don't do. And not only did he make a video attacking Tasha and talking so degrading and making disparaging comments about her, and he showed her Facebook page on his video and was just going down her timeline talking so awful about that girl. And I was just so disgusted by that. But not only did he do that, some of his fans came onto that video in the comment section under the video that I saw of the car burning. And one of the guys, a black dust ass guy, you know they never show their face because they ugly as fuck. They a fucking reject and they mad with black women, quality pretty black women, because they can't have one. And quality black pretty women don't want their ass. So they mad and disgruntled. So they go on the internet and talk shit about the black women that they cannot attract. And one of them had the nerve to say, "Burn, baby, burn," in regards to Tasha burning up in that car. My God, my God. And another one had the nerve to say, "Well, there goes another black man that don't have to pay child support." And see, I don't think Tasha had children. I haven't heard or seen anybody say anything about her having children. But that's just an idiot comment from one idiot. And meanwhile, he probably not even caught up or paying child support, or probably not even good looking enough to even squirt a squirt in his sperm inside of a decent woman to reproduce a child, or his penis may not even be long or big enough to penetrate the hole and reach the vagina to reproduce a baby. But I digress. You know, some of these idiots, I would say their mama should have swallowed. But that's not enough. Ooh, what I want to say, I'm not going to say it. And move right along. You know, I saw her sister saying that, you know, Tasha showed her the ropes and she's going to carry on her legacy. And I want to commend that. But at the same time, look at the ropes, some of the ropes that she showed you, honey. Look at the ropes that she showed you. You know, I want to say this. Only the things that we do for Christ will last. And a lot of these people that die and perish in sin, not to say that Tasha was in sin, I'm just saying, a lot of times when people perish in sin, we are to use them as an example to live our lives better. Because as surely as we die in sin, we will have to rise in Christ and face judgment. And none of our friends and family members will be there to co-sign our mess and to speak on our behalf. We're going to have to stand on our own record and give an account for the type of life that we have led on this earth. And it's a shame that so many people die in their mess. And you don't even have a clue that it's coming. You don't even see it coming. You don't have time to prepare. And it happened just like that. Tasha had just posted on her Facebook page that morning, had no idea probably that she was gonna die that evening when she got in that car that she liked so much. And now all of that is gone. And her life has been cut short at such a young age. And we can only learn from that. And, you know, maybe her boyfriend will tell what happened in that car. Maybe he won't. He's not obligated to tell us anything, but I sure would like to know what was happening in that car that led to them leaving the interstate and going down that embankment at I-240 in Lamar Avenue. But anyway, this is the end of the life of Tasha, and she left many memories for a lot of people in her circle, and she, according to many reports, touched a lot of people around the city, in several different cities. And, you know, it is what it is. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it. Holla at your girl. Peace.